Hello, my name is Amy Pennington. I am an interviewer for the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, and I'm interviewing Mr. Norval Emory Humphreys
Right.
on August 1st, 2006 at the Miami Township Senior Center. Monica Pearson is operating the camera today. And Mr. Humphreys, can you just tell us how to spell your last name so we make sure we have it correct? Is it?
Humphreys.
Okay. Okay, and can you tell us your birth date?
January 3rd, 24.
And you served, and can you tell us what your rank was and which war you served in?
I was in World War II and second lieutenant.
Second lieutenant. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was enrolled in Marshall College and went down to enlist in January '43, and they had closed the enlistments. So a month later I got drafted, and that was in February. And I wanted to get in the Air Force, and of course they sent me to the medical corps. And that made my parents very happy. They thought, well, he's in a medical corps. He won't go up to the front. And after basic training in medical corps, I was selected to be sent to tech school. So I went down to El Paso, Texas, William Beaumont General Hospital, and was enrolled in dental tech. Again, that made my parents very happy too. About a week before graduation from this, a buddy and I sneaked off the base and hitchhiked about 10 miles to an air base and applied for the Air Force. So we came back to the base, and a week later they sent word to send us over for our physical. And we passed. So we were going to go into the Air Force. Well, that made my CO unhappy, so he kicked us out of class, both of us. We didn't get that on our records, our dental training. And so he sent us up to the kitchen, or the cafeteria, to serve on permanent KP. And then when he saw we weren't working too hard there, he had orders to send us up to the hospital in empty bedpans. And we didn't want to do that. So we heard that the commanding officer on the base was home on back from furlough. So we went in to see him, and he had just lost a son in the Air Force. And he said, you guys go back and pack your bags, because once you get into the cadet program, you won't be able to go home for a year. So we did that. And then from there on, we went into the cadet training program in the Air Force. And I qualified to go to pilot training. So I went up to Santa Maria in primary, and was doing fairly well, but they put me up for a check ride and came back and said, you don't fly anymore. But what happened, they didn't need any pilots right then, and they washed out half the class. So he said, well, you can go home for 2 weeks furlough. I didn't want to go home after washing out, so I went back to Santa Ana Air Base for reclassification, and they were going to put me in navigation. And I'd asked for a bombardier, and I didn't think I could make it through navigation. But I talked to some old tough sergeant, and he said, don't turn it down. He said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to go overseas. He said, well, the first thing he'll do is send you to gunnery practice, training. You'll get that done. Then if you don't get through navigation school, boom, you're going over as a gunner. So I said, okay. So I went back. I breezed right through the navigation, which surprised me. And we graduated down in Ellington Field. They 200 in the class. They wanted to send all of them to Norfolk, West Virginia for some spatial training and some new radar. 20 of us didn't want to go. The other one jumped at it because they thought, hey, we'll be in the States 8 more months. So 20 of us didn't. So they sent us to troop carrier, and they sent us out down to Evanston, Indiana, to join a troop carrier outfit. And we were supposed to get some training there. We got very little. And all of a sudden we were on rush orders to go to New York to depart for Europe. And we thought we were going over to join a paratroop outfit for a big paradrop. We got in England, all of a sudden we just stayed there for 2 weeks. We missed the drop. So then they sent us over to France and split us up. And we went in as replacements to outfits that had been involved in the I think it was the last paradrop they had on over the Rhine River. And so we were split up. And we flew C-47s. And I guess I was in Europe almost 5 months. I was over there during V-Day. But up until V-Day, we were flying into Germany 2 flights a day. And we were flying in blood plasma. One time we had a whole load of nurses taken up. And we would land at an airfield that they had taken maybe a week, 2 days to a week before. We would unload, come back home. And the only real good thing, and I thought I did for the war effort, we hauled gasoline in jerry cans up for Patton's tank drive, his last tank drive into Germany.
Oh, wow.
And that's the only way you could get it up there. And these, I guess there were 5-gallon jerry cans. So we'd load the whole plane with them and then unload and go back, get some more. And then after VE Day, and this is the nice part of my career, we made 2 flights a day going into Germany and bringing back released POWs.
Wow. What was that like?
Well, these guys were so happy to be out that they wanted every crew member's address. When they got home, they were going to send us gifts. But I mean, it was real touching to do this. And so then, after VE Day, I didn't have enough points to get discharged, so we flew back to the States, and they sent us down to Fort Benning, Georgia, and they didn't know what to do with us, so they decided to run us through the basic training for paratroopers, which we didn't want to do. So we did that for about 2 weeks. And then they sent, by that time it was only about 10 of us, so they sent us to Rapid City, South Dakota to join a weather recon outfit that was getting ready to go to the Aleutian Islands.
Wow.
Nobody wanted to go there. And turns out so many mechanics had got out discharged on points, they couldn't keep the planes flying. So this thing just fizzled out. So about that time, I've been in about 3 years, and I thought, I've got through all this, and haven't been hurt or anything. I did want to stay another year. Because to me, this what I was getting, and then you got extra flight pay. If you got your flight time in each month, you got extra money. And I thought, well, that's pretty good money for now. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I wanted to stay another year. But then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, you know, if the mechanics aren't keeping the planes running good, I said, why take a chance on going up in them? So I asked for a discharge and got out. That was it. I had 3 years and 1 month in.
3 years and 1 month, and what year was that you?
46, I got out.
1946, you got out.
Yeah, March.
What was it like? Tell me a little bit more about being a medical officer. What was that like?
Being a what?
Medical officer?
I wasn't a medical officer.
You were.
I was a navigator.
Yeah, you were a navigator, but you said you would went to the medical.
Well, I went to tech school, and they gave you a T5 rating, which is like a corporal. And as I went through cadets, I maintained that corporal rating. Rather than go through as a cadet, I went through as an aviation student. And I got less money, but the advantage was when they had a barracks cleanup, they'd come around and say, "Humphrey, you're in charge of it." Well, I didn't have to do anything. And so there were some advantages to it. Mm-hmm. And for some reason or other, I was drafted when I was 19. And then by that time, some of these boys coming into cadets were 17 and 18. So I felt like an old man for them. So it worked out pretty good. But all in all, my experience wasn't nearly that bad. I think we only one time we had they fired at our plane coming over the English Channel, and they had a restricted area, and I plotted the course to just the skirt on the edge of it. Well, they threw up a couple shots just to warn us that we weren't supposed to be there. And the pilot got sort of angry. But that was about all. And most of my navigation was pilotage, and that's you have not a road map; it's a topographical map, and you're following railroads and lakes and things that go into Germany and come back. And then when we left to come home to Scotland, we had to plot our entire course to get to Iceland, and we used what we call dead reckoning, where you figure out what the wind's going to be and your heading, and then as soon as you get up in the air, you have to take a drift reading to see if the wind is what you were told it was going to be. And if it's not, you make alterations. And I think only once did I use celestial navigation. That's where you take shots on a couple stars and then plot them and find out where you're at. But that's then all the way home from Iceland to Newfoundland, we made radio contact, so didn't have to navigate much. And of course, when I got discharged, you're automatically in the reserve until further training. And I thought about signing up. The closest training place was up at Wilmington. And you go to meetings, and then you spend about a month in the summer, and you can make a little money. But then I started thinking about going up there and going up in the air and flying with these pilots that are rusty. They're not flying that much and so forth, so I didn't do it. I remained in the inactive reserve, I think, for 5 years before you're released on that.
I know you were awarded some medals. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I just got, you got the European Theater Medal, and then you got the Victory Medal. And then I think, I don't know, I think I had one other, I don't know what it was. Didn't mean much. I never pinned them on my uniform and don't know where they're at.
Did you feel a lot of pressure and stress during this time, especially the E-Day?
No, I don't know why, but I know and for some reason or other, when we flew into Germany, we knew we were landing right behind the fighting. Because one day they told us they just took the airfield, the German airfield over 2 days before. And of course, it's all the Germans are gone. But we did, I know, every time we went in, we unloaded and got out of there as quick as we could, you know, head back. But that's, as far as I'm concerned, and that's the only element of danger that I would put myself in, except the fact that anytime you're up in a plane, you can have malfunction and have trouble. But the C-47 was probably the safest plane that was put in the air. And it was, well, it was the same plane that was being used as passenger planes over here in the United States. But most of my time was in C-47s or C-48s. And I saw 47s that had been shot up and come back with half the tail shot off and so forth.
And still.
Same with the B-17. B-17 would take all kind of punishment and make it home.
So you felt pretty confident in those,
Yeah.
those planes. Did you, how'd you keep in touch with your family?
With what?
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Just writing letters.
Letters.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get homesick?
No, not really.
It was exciting. It sounds like you did a lot of traveling.
No, I really didn't. And I probably rode home once a week. And then you might go 3 weeks before you got any mail back or something like that. But it was probably a good experience for me. Even though when I got discharged, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I decided to go back to college.
What did you study in college?
Well, I started out in engineering, and then at Marshall College, then I decided that all the GIs coming back were either going into engineering or they're going into medicine. So I transferred to Miami University and was going to take architecture. And they mapped out a course for me that was looked so hard. I thought, well, I'm going to flunk out of here. My sister was going up there. So I switched to education. I switched to industrial arts. And I breezed through in 2 years, I think. And I become a industrial arts teacher and a coach.
Where at?
I started out at Anderson in 48. I taught 5 years, and then I came over to Taylor here, taught 6 years. And then they opened Oak Hills, so I went over there and I think I taught 19 years over there and retired. So I've been retired almost 30 years. And that was my ambition, to have as many retirement years as I had teaching.
That's wonderful.
And I taught 30 years. So that's been nice.
Did you make a lot of close friendships while you were in the service?
What?
Did you make a lot of friends in the service
No,
that you kept in touch with? Or?
Because of the fact that we were split up, we never really, went through a lot with a bunch of guys. And went through training in Ellington for, I think it was 3 months. And then split up. Then when we went into the troop carrier, went overseas, they split us up. So I only had really contact. I've only seen one person that I was in service with. He was an engineer, and he was on business down on Briar Road at the bitumen plant. And he remembered that I was from Cincinnati. Well, I told people I was from Cincinnati. Actually, I was from Ironton, which was up the river. And nobody heard of Ironton. So you say, well, I'm from Cincinnati. Oh, I know where that is. So anyhow, he looked me up in the book and found out I was right over here at Taylor. So he came over and we had lunch together. And he was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's the only person that I've had any contact, and I haven't gone back to any reunions.
Did you, are you in any veterans organizations now?
I've been in the American Legion now for probably about 18 years. I'm active in it.
What kind of activities do you do? What kind of activities do you do in the
Legion?
Legion? Yes.
Basically, right now, all we're trying to do is make enough money to keep our building open because we're losing members. None of the young vets are joining, and so it's just a constant battle to, we have fish fries, whatever, and on the 12th we're going to have a cornhole tournament. Just something to raise 200 here, 300 there to keep our building going, and it's a struggle. And then let's see, I belong to the Gideons. You know who they are?
You can go ahead and tell us.
The Gideons are the ones that put the Bibles in all the motels and so forth. And I belong to Carver's group, and I've been wood carving now for since about 1975. And then I belong to Kiwanis, local Kiwanis.
So you're very active in different activities. You have a lot of activities you do. That's wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered so far?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Nothing else at all? Do you have any photographs with you or anything by any chance?
I looked through some stuff, and I didn't have a camera when I was overseas. And I don't have any pictures like that. So the only picture I had was when I was in a medical training, a couple of pictures, and then going through cadets. And I didn't think they were anything to show. I was looking for some maps. I had a little canvas bag with 2 maps in it that they give you when you're flying over in Europe in case your plane is downed. And these maps might help you find out where you're at. So I had one of Germany and one of France. I looked for them, I couldn't find them. But I know they're somewhere in the house.
If you find them, we'd love to
And I brought
get a picture.
a few souvenirs back, but I wasn't going to bring them in. And a Luger 22 German training rifle I brought back. That's the only thing I brought back, really. So that was it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for interviewing with us today. It's been an honor for me to interview you.
It's not a...
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I don't meet with other guys and sit around and tell war stories because I don't have that many. But all I can say is it was an experience, and I think it probably, in the 3 years in service, when I got out, I was probably 10 years more mature than I was when I went in.
Right. So you felt like you grew up a lot.
Yeah,
Just
you grew
through
up
the
fast,
experience.
yeah. And that made me a little bit more prepared to go on with my life and do something with it.
Great.
Okay?